Chapter 8 Boone. When Rose and Clancy reached the marketplace, each crowded lot was now an empty space. The folded pamphlets people littered clung to clumps of grass and stuck to mud and dung. Both the descending sun and evening breeze backlit the waving hands of hickory trees. Long shadows stretched across the vacant lots as Red tied down the tarp with practiced knots. The Morey twins helped tug and pull it tight. A three-man job. His pa had called it right. And when the canopy was all secure, they turned to Clancy, each with looks unsure. Although the twins were thrilled to see the pup, the shock kept Red's thick eyebrows arching up. They quickly fell as realization moved across his face and showed he disapproved. "You boys go play," declared the angry man, which was a country boy's beloved command. And as they ran into the open field, Rose prepared for words that Red would wield. Between the groups, a field of separation, but still they had concurrent conversations, like dueling banjos, twanging string for string. These distant bands were saying matching things. And once the boys were gone, Red started in. "What was that thing that Clancy carted in? 'Cause lest my eyes is blinded by a fog, I could 'a' swore he had hisself a dog." Miss Rose replied, "Well, nothin' gets by you." And Red continued, "Woman, what'd you do? Don't hand me bricks when I's already sinking. Can't pay for none of this. What was you thinking?" "Don't worry, it ain't nothin' bought. Can't pay nobody money we ain't got." "Instead of payment, Doc asked us to take the puppy home." Red shouted, "Goodness sake!" "Goodness sake!" said Thomas in the grass. "You got yourself a dog? Ain't that a gas? But why would Doc just give him to you free? You figure that he's full of worms and fleas?" "Worms and fleas is why I gave him up," said Red. "No one gives away a healthy pup," Miss Rose replied. "The Doc was being honest. He's kind to Clancy and had pity on us." "The Doc's a townie, Rose. They all the same. Just snakes that hide and strike without no shame." "Don't talk of snakes. My skin's about to crawl." "That's what them townies is, them each and all. They women and they children serpents too. Each one'll bite you with a poison tooth. How many bites a taken till you see? You think the Doc is different? No sirree." "No sirree," said Clancy. "He's right as rain, and gonna be a hunter once he trained. And he'll be catching rabbits, squirrels too. I'll eat just like a king, each night a stew." "A stew," said Red. "A puppy stew with herbs." "Red Macree, how about you eat them words?" he said. "I'll sell him if he worth $1. If he get close, my boot'll make him holler." She said, "To hurt a dog is serpentine. You touch that dog, I'll feed you turpentine. You big old baby, quit your hissy fit." He said, "Well, I ain't taking care of it, or paying. Better sell your knitting, Rose. Can't even buy the boy some boots or clothes." Rose asked, "You think I stupid as a knob? I take the dog 'cause it came with a job." "A job?" asked Thomas. Clancy said, "Sure enough. Be helping out the Doc all kinds of stuff, and bringing in some 50 cents a week. It's time for manning up to earn my keep." "What you gonna do with all that bread?" asked Terence. Clancy thought and scratched his head. Well, I reckon that at least I'd buy me an island. Something small but nice like Tybee." Terence whispered, "Tybee Island. Gall." "Gall!" bellowed Red. "Well, blast it all. You gonna make the same mistake again? When will you see? A townie ain't no friend. Or maybe you just don't remember none. But I ain't gonna lose another son. She said, I ought to smack you, Red Macree. How dare you say that awful thing to me? I can't forget the child in my womb. There ain't no man that understands that wound. So you take back them words and feel regret for thinking that a mama could forget. Her pain undid the tension of his brow. His scolding eyes looked downward to allow for mercy and restraint, and Rose could see his silence was the man's apology. You should have seen the smile on the boy. Can't let our fear rob Clancy of some joy. And we got nothing, Red. Nothing at all. So can't we give him something? Something small? Something small like Tybee, huh? You fool, said Thomas. Ain't enough to feed a mule. But 50 cent, good money all the same. Say, you done give that dog a name? The truth was Clancy hadn't named him yet. He whistled to call the pet, who came, though nearly tripping on his ears. He stared at Clancy with a wagging rear. The sitting boy looked long into its face, to find a fitting name like Butch or Ace. But then the name of names came to his mind. He'd call him Boone, but uttered Caroline. Caroline, said Rose, is living there. And Red, you should have seen our Clancy stare. It's time to have the talk, it seems to me, before we find him swinging in a tree. Red asked, A dog? A job? A girl? What else? He kicked the dirt. I should have gone myself, 'cause now I gladly drink that turpentine. We'll come to curse the name of Caroline. Caroline? The twins in concert asked, then rolled in laughter. Meanwhile, Clancy basked in the embarrassment of his faux pas that he desired to cover or withdraw. Clancy, whose bashful cheeks had turned maroon, said stammering, It's Boone. His name is Boone. The dog tilted his head at such a claim, then panted with approval of the name. Of all the ways the boy had been awoken, by thunder booms or Clancy, softly spoken, by growling hunger or an aching head, by nightmare or by falling out of bed, by suffocating heat or chilling breezes, by itching lice or paws loud snoring wheezes, not once had he, in 12 entire years, been roused from sleep by licks upon his ears. You need to go? What started as a question became a statement warranting attention. You need to go, and reckon so do I. Boone leapt from bed as if the dog could fly. His nails were slippery upon the floor and slid but gathered, racing toward the door. Again his feet gave way like tumbling dice, as if the dog were on a pond of ice. The door could not be opened soon enough, and Boone let out a whine and urgent huff. Outside, the dog, with nose upon the ground, was sniffing for a spot and circling round. As Clancy walked, he felt the morning dew beneath his naked feet, and pressure grew. He strode with eager pace and wobbly knees, as boy and dog searched for a place to pee. The rushing boy, with fingers fumbling, could not undo his knickers, mumbling, Come on, come on! The boy began to run, and finally got the stubborn knot undone. When once they found the perfect piece of turf, they both relieved themselves upon the earth, with streams that foamed like they had tapped a keg, the squatting pup too rushed to lift his leg. Clancy's head tipped back to face the sky, and he let out a satisfying sigh, while Boone looked on with tongue below his jowls. He figured that's the way a human howls. And when their eyes connected, so did they. But different, deeper than the human way. For boy and dog there was no stronger bond than sharing the same earth to pee upon. Without them knowing, Red had watched the scene, recalling that he had the same routine but with his boys, when fatherhood was new, when Jake was 6 and Clancy was but 2. Red leaned on the doorframe, reminiscing about that time and place that had gone missing, about the bond he once had with his boys, a bond he thought no circumstance destroyed. But life and death are stronger than erosion, and time's events acidic as corrosion. Where had the fragments gone, and what remained? And had the bond survived through all the pain? Yet there within the threshold of his home, the man could see the bond that he had known. The fragments were still there, inside his chest, the weathered rock that life enjoyed to test. Although his eyes grew pink within the whitening, with vessels streaking just like reddened lightning, the creaky corners of his mouth were lifting a rusty smile that he had been resisting. He held it longer than he thought he could. Despite the strain, to smile again felt good. The man looked at his metal coffee cup and saw the steam that lifted, streaming up. He realized the vaporizing steam was here then gone, like memories and dreams. And just as fast his smile disappeared. He said, "Y'all get ready for church, you hear?